Hello everybody, my name is KingStix. In this video we're going to be looking at some big changes coming out in the next patch 9.3, which will be dropping in roughly 1 week from now. The first big change I want to mention has to do with jungle Camille specifically. You could apply it to her as a laner, but it won't really be that impactful. Her E will no longer stun anything except for champions. So if you're trying to play Camille in the jungle, oftentimes you'll be vaulting into your next camp or starting it and then stunning it to reduce the amount of damage you're taking. Now that won't even be possible. I think jungle Camille will take a huge dive from now. A lot of you probably don't really understand this change. The biggest issue is in higher elo, ganking becomes progressively more difficult, but on a champion like Camille, especially if you know if somebody's flash is down, you can gank the lane from almost anywhere. This change really makes a lot of sense when you consider how prevalent Camille is in higher elo and how she just utterly ruins it. The next change is very interesting. It's on a bit of a forgotten champion, and that is Vies. They are making Vies' passive shield much larger, bumping it all the way from 10% of her maximum HP all the way up to 15%. You might see a little bit more incentive for her to go slightly towards the tankier side now rather than bruiser, or going bruiser, she'll just see a slight benefit of the shield. The cooldown is being nerfed in the late game, going from 8 seconds all the way up to 12. They are counteracting this by reducing the cooldown by 3 seconds every time you proc denting blows. What this means is your passive gives you a much larger shield, and as long as you're able to stay in combat and pound the enemies, it will be off a cooldown and ready to be used even faster. However, if you're not pounding the enemies with autos after you proc your passive, it will be on a 4-second longer cooldown. They are also looking to make her stronger in team fights. To do this, they're going to have to take away some of her single target damage, since at the moment, if she does land all of her abilities, she can typically one-shot a squishy in the early and mid game. Not surprisingly, we're seeing them pull AD off of her Q, while at the same time removing the modifier that made it do less damage to minions and monsters, so she'll still be able to clear her jungle in a timely manner. Her early game is taking a little bit of a hit with her early attack speed on her W going down by 10% at rank 1, but getting 10% stronger at final rank, going up from 50% to 60%. Vies' E excessive force is receiving a significant buff with a 20% AP increase, and now the AoE can crit. If you can manage to get in there and smack out some E's, you'll be doing loads of splash damage. Vies' ultimate is going to be doing less single target damage, however, it will be doing more damage to multiple people that it hits, CCing those people for longer and also knocking them back farther. So whenever Vies does ult somebody who's in the middle of their team, she'll be CCing everybody collectively for longer and pushing them back farther, giving her much longer time to kill the target she ulted on. This will make Vies quite a bit better in team fights. She'll be able to act more like a CC engager rather than just trying to assassinate somebody and then dying instantly. It'll be a nice differentiation between her and 𝐒𝐿, since right now they perform pretty much the same role. Irelia has been suffering from an insane ban rate for a very long time. Even though her base win rate is very low, after people have played over 50 games on her, their win rate tends to get pretty gosh darn high. With these flurry of changes, they are looking to put her in a much healthier position, while at the same time making her a lot less versatile, since she can currently play mid, top, and AD carry proficiently. The most substantial nerf / change Irelia will be taking is the change to her W. The damage reduction is going up by 10%. However, the damage reduction will now only block physical damage. So it's going to be pretty difficult to pick her in the mid lane against anyone who does AP damage, because guess what? Right when she does her W, the AP mid laner can dump all their spells on her. She can't move while she's in her W, and she'll take the full amount of damage. Not only that, but if you try to play her bot lane as AD carry now, if the enemy support is a high AP support like Brand or 𝐒𝐿𝐂𝐈, you'll be lighting her up pretty well. This will force Irelia players to play her primarily in the top lane against AD champions, and if they don't, they'll suffer the consequences. Her HP per level is being increased, and her passive is being changed as well. If any of you Irelia mains are in the comments, I'm more than eager to get your response on it. Aatrox is receiving some changes that are overall nerfs. He's getting more HP regen and more HP regen growth stat. However, his E no longer heals him whenever he damages minions or monsters, so Aatrox jungle is going to take a dive for sure, and playing Aatrox into difficult poke matchups, either mid or top lane, will become much more difficult since you can't sustain off of the minions. You'll have to be able to force consistent fights against poke matchups to keep your HP up, which is going to be very awkward for Aatrox players since they're so used to just sustaining off of the minions after a trade. Aatrox's dash will now only have 1 charge, no longer 2 charges. However, the cooldown is going to be much lower. This is still a really big nerf since before, when he had 2 charges, he could have a really nasty engage that you couldn't quite get away from. Now his all-in engage isn't going to be nearly as sticky. I'm not surprised to see this change. Aatrox is just way too abusive and can force the meta into some pretty weird spots. The next champion receiving a nerf is quite the controversial one, and that is Akali. She's receiving some hefty hits. Her Q will no longer be healing her. This is going to be huge. This was her main tool for sustaining in lane phase, especially against opponents who had more range than her. The cooldown on her invisibility is also being increased, and it will no longer grant her true invisibility from towers when shrouded. It doesn't specify champions like Rengar or Twisted Fate ult, but at least now she can't go invisible under your tower with no real repercussions. With these 2 huge slap in the faces to Akali mains, she's getting a very slight base HP regen buff, which she will definitely need after they remove the healing from her Q. Ezreal's pick rate is almost as high as his win rate. He has a pick rate of 45%, which is truly incredible. If anyone gets autofilled as Ezreal, or if you have to first pick his AD carry, you can just throw down an Ezreal. He plays well into every enemy team comp, he plays good with any team comp, and he's fairly simple to play in lane phase since he can farm for free, and he has a built-in flash in his kit. Ezreal is receiving some small nerfs across the board on his E and his R. I don't think the issue is that Ezreal is too good. I think the issue is that crit AD carries in general aren't the best, and also right now as a jungler, you're pretty much forced into playing red buff level 2 junglers who can gank, and Ezreal plays pretty good against that. And that is going to wrap up the big changes for patch 9.3. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Which big changes are you most and least excited about? For me personally, I'm most excited about the Akali nerfs. However, I am disappointed that TF and Rengar ult still can't see her. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to support the channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My name is KingStix. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.